This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football, certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game? And he'll take it up past the 25 to the 26-yard line. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And, Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, and we'll call him Young John Madden, this is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as a coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
It'll be Sanders to begin the drive. And he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. Second down. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
Third play here, this opening drive as they're up against a 3rd and 5. Here's Favre to throw. Got a man. It's Randy Moss, complete. And brought down, but not before reaching the 45-yard line. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Blockman, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Blockman coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy that could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
So now 20 yards to go on 2nd down after the sack. Work to be done. Throwing is Favre. He'll get this complete to Cooper Kupp. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
And they won't risk defending a return here. That one's out of bounds, and it'll be spotted at the 14-yard line. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. So 10 seasons as a head coach. The Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stable, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrom, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Here's 2nd and 9, just a yard on that last run. Now a first carry for their fullback. And he is met at the line of scrimmage, and he goes down right there. No gain on the play there, so that doesn't help. Now they're looking up at a 3rd and 9 situation. So we're through 1 at the Coliseum in Oakland. 0-0 our score. They'll come to the line here needing 9 yards to pick up the first. Throwing is Brady on 3rd down. He's got a man. Andre Reed complete. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. But might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three River Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
Well, they're in some hot water now. After that sack, it's 2nd and 21. Brady going to throw. And this one complete to Reed. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses from the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
And this is taken in at the 5. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
But I think it's about time I took my eyes off of the secondary or the guys with the football. How about the offensive line on that snap? They took care of business.
Absolutely, and when he can stay in the pocket like that, you're going to get big plays like we just saw. After the big play, a chance to finish now on 1st and goal. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. No gain there, and it's going to set up 2nd and goal. So stuffed from the 2, now what?
You know me pretty well. What do you think I want here?
Play action?
Definitely. Let him get outside and create. And if he has to run it, he has a little bit more space.
2nd down and goal. Brady out to his left. And he'll just chuck this one up into row G. It's incomplete.
That's a good decision there. He was looking, and he was looking, but the coverage was excellent. Nice job to get rid of it and try and find something better on 3rd and goal. He didn't let that clock accelerate and force him into an error.
3 tight ends up front here. 3rd and goal. They fake the handoff. Now Brady under pressure now, and he's going to go down. Sacked back around the 8. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. On now is Vinatieri as he'll try the field goal. From the left hash, a chip shot here. The career leader in field goals made knocks that one through. Well, I don't know if they would have gone for it on 4th and goal anyway, but the sack on 3rd down pretty much made their mind up for it.
You're exactly right about that. And this is a tough place on the field to take a sack because, as you just noted, it took the decision-making away from them. Now they have to go for a field goal instead of potentially going for it.
After the made field goal, here's Adam Vinatieri to kick it away. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And the decision to come out of the end zone is going to cost him 5 yards as he's taken down right at the 20. Well, the NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, we should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it is always a game.
First and 10, it's Favre. He'll get this one to Cup, complete. So, Charles, after that Super Bowl title in the 76 season, the Raiders again advanced to the AFC Championship game the following year, but they fell to the Denver Broncos on New Year's Day by a field goal, and that ended their chances for back-to-back titles. And then in 1978, after missing out on the playoffs in that season, John Madden, he actually stepped down as coach of the Raiders January 4th, 1979.
Yeah, and that was a surprise for the league because remember, Brandon, he coached 10 seasons in the NFL, but he put everything he had into the Oakland Raiders, into being a head football coach, into guiding, mentoring, loving his players. And he just sort of felt like it was the right time to step away. And even though he was just 42 when he left, even though there would be overtures for a return to coaching in the future, many overtures, he never returned to the sideline.
Even though he didn't, we all know his work with the NFL was far from finished, and a lot of chapters of the John Madden story were still left to be written.
From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10.
Play action. It's Favre.
And that's caught inside the 35. And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30. It's a gain of 35.
This offense has been slow to get started, but that play will certainly give them a little bit of life. Maybe the late wake-up call that they had been seeking.
So the big play changes the complexion of things. Here's 1st and 10 just outside the 30.
Now Favre.
That'll be caught by Rice. Nifty move. And they'll have it in the red zone before he crosses over out of bounds.
Back-to-back nice gains. That one for 14 yards and another first.
So the first catch for Jerry Rice,
always fun to talk about. His career stats, Charles, they're so good. He leads in so many categories that we can't even get to them all.
Yeah, what do they say? He combines ridiculous statistical supremacy with crazy longevity. How about this? Most receptions, yards, touchdowns, just to name a few of the accolades along the way.
So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10.
From the red zone now, they'll look to throw. Throw right side, going to be complete to Moss.
Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout as they'll stop it with 13 seconds to play in half number 1. Favre to the goal line, but it's incomplete.
They're putting together a drive here in the final minutes of the half, but the coverage has been tight all game long, and they certainly want to keep them off the scoreboard here.
They come up here with another shot from the 6-yard line, and it's 2nd and goal now. To throw is Favre. Touchdown! Cooper Kupp in the final seconds of the first half. And the NFC has taken the lead.
That's one of the better examples of clock management I've seen. Whittled it all the way down just about and still put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, just a methodical drive and something really to take into the lockers here. Morton Anderson now for the extra point. And this is up and good to make it 7-3. So that drives 7 plays in length. And it ends with Cooper Kupp on the receiving end of the touchdown pass. Maybe time for one play on offense. 7 seconds to go in the half as the kick is away. Taken in at the 3. And a nice job there on special teams to limit him to inside the 15 as he's dropped at the 14. So the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
So we're at halftime of the John Madden Legacy game, and now we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Here comes Hall. He's going to bring it out. And no chance to get away as they'll get him down at about the 17-yard line. And the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember
He wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Brady going to try and throw on 3rd down. Got him in. That's Tim Brown. And he'll be taken down, but he does have 1st down yardage. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Two 1st downs have him up to the 41 now for 1st and 10. Now Allen. This will be stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him. And now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitchman. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Play action. Now it's Brady. And Allen's got it. And they're going to work this down to about the 32-yard line. You think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And, Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide input, a lot of input on the Madden video game.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that design and build this game certainly look forward to their yearly visits out to the Madden compound that he had out in the East Bay. They pitch the new aspects of each year's game to him, get his feedback, and then get to sit back and spend 6 hours with him on a Sunday, watching football and listening to him tell stories and talk even more ball. It had to be an incredible experience for all involved.
Brady's incompletion on first down leads to a 2nd and 10. They'll look to throw. Over the middle, complete. That's Gonzalez.
And he's going to get this down near the 25.
One thing I think that's safe to say defensively, the tackling's been really good.
And because of that, it's been very, very hard for them to move the ball because you're not getting the benefits of run after catch. They're tackling them almost on the spot. That means you have to run extra plays, harder to move it.
Now Brady. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Brown.
And they're going to get this down inside the 15.
And here we are in the 4th quarter, partner, and watch them drive for what would be a go-ahead touchdown. And you and I both know this is where you need a quarterback who can keep his cool back there. Not just for himself, but to keep the rest of the team relaxed too.
Here's a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line.
Into the red zone, it's Brady. And it's caught. Touchdown. Tim Brown. A 14-yard touchdown. And the AFC has retaken the lead.
But plenty of scoring here of late, and our lead changes hands now in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they just gave up a touchdown on the other end, so they knew that with time getting short, they had to put something together here. And they were able to do so and retake the lead right back.
Now an important extra point here to stretch this lead to a field goal. He's got it, and this is indeed up to a 3-point lead. That one was an extended drive, 14 plays all told. And it ends with an AFC touchdown. There's been a Terry now to kick it away after the touchdown.
Fielded just outside the goal line. And he will be brought down here inside the 20. Good coverage as he's dropped at the 17. The NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so. He showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
On first down, Favre. And that'll be off the mark, too far out in front, and it's incomplete.
He shook his head right when he released that throw. He knew it was going to be a little off target.
Yeah, the excitement got him on that one. Wasn't able to control the fact the receiver was open, and it would have been an easy throw.
And
Incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. He'll drop to throw. Now they set up the screen. That's complete. And he'll get it up here this time to the 21. 5 yards. Now it's 3rd and 5.
The key to any screen play is all in the deception. That means everyone on the offensive side of the ball. But someone gave it up because that one wasn't very well concealed. And the defense able to rally to him and hold him for just a short gain.
So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden legacy game. The AFC clinging on to a slim lead. We're back to Oakland after this. Looking to throw. On a huge mistake late. It's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. Well, you knew you had to take some chances here with the clock winding down, needing a touchdown to win it, and that one might have just sealed their fate.
Yeah, and that's the nature of the 2-minute drill. The offense trying to go downfield and make their plays. But defenses, they're sitting back watching everything that they do, but not too far back. They want to be in position to make a play on the ball, and that they did.
Here's Allen. A short gain here, maybe a yard to the 29. And whistles, and we're going to have another stoppage of play as they call the timeout on defense with 1:53 left. So 2nd and 9, and you'd have to figure just about all 11 probably crashing the line here. Up the middle they run with Bettis. And he's going to bring this one down to right about the 20-yard line. Now the NFC going to take a timeout, their second, as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down. Brady to throw. Toward the end zone, but that's going to wind up incomplete.
That's a pretty play there. Got in at the last second, helped force the ball free, and kept them out of the end zone.
Brady to throw for it on 4th down. And he's brought down. Can't do anything with a football. It's a sack and a turnover on downs. The AFC went for it, and it doesn't work out. And as a result, possession switches hands. So that's a decision that could loom pretty large here. They go for it on 4th down, but come up empty.
But I actually like the call, and the reason? It shows me a head coach has faith in his team overall. First on the offensive side, thinking they can pick it up, but also knowing that he has faith in his defense that if they don't, they'll go out there and stop them. I like the confidence he showed.
Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. Now this game, it has obviously been all about the defense on both sides of the football. Which offense is going to break through here? We'll see if they can do it on this drive. And now the drive starts with a completion out to the right. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. 2nd and right at a yard.
I like what they did there, still keeping their tight ends involved. They understand it's not quite Hail Mary time just yet.
Now they got to get to the line quickly. He's back to throw. Into the hands of Sanders. And he'll get up near the 45. They'll spot it at the 44. 7 yards there and a first down. We are inside of 1 minute. Only one timeout left, so they've got to move quickly.
Get up to the line of scrimmage, make sure they're set. No penalties in this situation, but you're exactly right. Conserve that timeout for when they really need it.
Back to throw. And nowhere to fit that football in. It's knocked away and incomplete. Randy Moss, the intended receiver. And that'll bring up second down. Back to throw. And that went too far in front. He couldn't reel it in. It's incomplete.
Back-to-back incompletions, but we know this is definitely four-down territory. Time not on their side. I don't think they want to try and get the first down in 2 installments. I think they got to go and get it right here, right now.
Now they face a 3rd and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. He'll look to throw. He's going to let it fly. Oh, that's going to be a costly one. It's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And a great return as he's up close to the 40-yard line. When you talk about making winning plays, that is a winning play at this stage of the game. To come up with that interception, huge.
I like how you identified that because most people think winning plays are the offense trying to get it done. In this case, nursing a lead, they found a way to make a play on that side of the ball and maybe finish things off.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee. Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout as they get it with 26 seconds to go in the football game. Brady will take a knee here, and that should just about do it. Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players, co-workers, and in the lives of millions of Americans who watched it. There will never be another John Madden.
So it's a win here for the AFC on an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. Before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.